So Russell, we've dried the barley on the kiln floor. What happens with it then?
Well, Jerry, once we've dried our malt, we'll leave it in one of our bins for a minimum of 21 days. And that's primarily to let the malt recover from the metamorphosis, if you like. After that period of time, we then transfer it through to our mill room, where we present it to the mill ready to ground it into a grist, into some of these big bins we see behind us here today.
And then, so what do we do with it then? Basically, you have a grist is like flour, isn't it? So
it's ground malt. That's right. So you've got three component parts basically. We've got flour, we've got the grits and the husks. And we've got to be careful how we mix these together, which is basically the grind. If it's too fine, we struggle to drain. If it's too coarse, we don't get the same extract.
So once it's there, you add water into here. So what happens in this vessel?
Well, this is our mash tun. And what we do is, at Highland Park, we've got three water regime. The grist is added with water in the mashing in process. And the temperature of the grist in with the water to the mash tun is absolutely critical. The main part of this process is it's to gelatinise the starch, so basically to rupture the starch cells and allow the enzymes present that were so carefully protected earlier on in the process in the maltings to convert the starch into sugars.
And how many waters do you use? Is it the same thing right the way through the process?
Our first water at the moment is added at 63.5 degrees. We then add a second water once we've taken a preset quantity of liquid, which is worked from the base of the mash tun, and that's added at 79 degrees. Basically, the first and second water combined is sufficient to fill the washback. We then add a third water, a much higher temperature of 88 degrees, and primarily what that does, it strips out the last of the sugars into our sparge tank, and that is our first water for the next mash.
So you end up with this sugary solution, which you then do what with?
That sugary solution called wort is added to each one of these washbacks. We add 29,200 litres of wort into a washback, and we also add 100 kilograms of yeast. And that is when the start of the fermentation process takes place.
What type of yeast do we use? Is it brewer's yeast or?
It's a great number of years, Jerry, since we ever used brewer's yeast at Highland Park. We use now, it's a cultured yeast, it's a Kerry yeast, and it's M and MX strains. And basically what actually happens is the MX strain is a faster acting yeast, and the N strain is a longer acting yeast. And what happens is we leave the washbacks, they work in there to ferment, and after about 60 hours we've got an alcohol concentration in there of about 8% alcohol by volume.
Is the yeast just pitched in? Is it just thrown in over the side, or?
Very seldom. If our equipment fails, we may do that, and it will ferment. But no, what we do is we burst our yeast, mix it with water in a tank downstairs, and we add that in a controlled fashion at the beginning of the filling operation of each washback.
So at the end of this process, we basically have an 8% beer, which is then used for distillation, because 8% obviously is not strong enough to be called whiskey.
No, that's correct. I mean, in that volume, the vast majority in the volume will be water. The 8% alcohol is left in there, and we then send it to the still house for distillation. But the fermentation process for flavours is very, very important. The vast majority of congeners of flavours are actually produced in fermentation. So when we send it down to the distillation, into the still house, you separate all these flavours and alcohols from the water that's in there in the first place.
And I see they're all wooden washbacks. Does that add any flavour to the beer?
No, no. I mean, really, they're holding vessels. They're a particular type of wood, and no, we won't really add any flavours to the wash, if you like, which ultimately will end up as you make spirit.
Are these the washbacks that the servicemen during World War II would have had their baths in?
Very similar, Jerry. We actually took a washback out 3 years ago, dated back to the late 50s, and that's one of the washbacks we've used when we upgraded the visitor centre. The beautiful appearance in there primarily is down to the wood from the washbacks themselves. But yes, as the story goes, during the war, that the sailors, my apologies, the soldiers that were based in Orkney they used to come to the distillery to have a bath in the washbacks.
So that would have been where you had one of your baths, I suppose.
That's the very last one I had.
That's very, that's